it on your tab just at the bottom of your screen, and you can be able to ask questions. And there are no questions that are off limits, and our fireside queens will be super, super excited to answer them. And at the end of this session, we will also have a Q&A section. So feel free to comment and chat away in the chat room as you have already started doing. Now, every single time you travel, you're told that before you put on, when anything happens like an emergency, put on your oxygen mask first before you help another person. And as women, sometimes we forget ourselves and we put everybody else before us. And today we want to see how it's important for you to choose yourself so that you can be able to be beneficial for other people, your community, your village, and everybody who draws energy from you. You can never pour out from an empty cup. So today we want to learn, and I am so loaded with a pen and a paper to learn from these amazing queens about what it takes to take care of yourself so that you can be able to take care of other people. And interesting. Let me first of all give a call to one of my friends here who has just logged in. And I want to just see how she is doing. Let me see. Wow. I think her phone is on silence, and I can't reach her right now, but we will kickstart the conversation, and we will find her, and I'll let you know why I am looking for her, so that she just concerns me, and so I really need to talk to her, and I need to talk to her in front of you because she needs a lot of I think she needs a bit of help, right? All right, our moderator for today is none other than Grace Linda. Grace Linda, welcome. You're most welcome to today's discussion. Grace Linda is amazing. She's going to lead us in this discussion about how to take care of yourself, what self-care is, what self-love is. She's mastered the art of mental wellness, especially for women, and she's going to tell us how and lead the discussion on how we can put our oxygen mask first. Grace Linda, the floor is yours. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Stella. I think I'm used to seeing different people on video, and now I'm seeing only, oh, okay. So I can finally see the rest of the people. Thank you, ladies, for logging in. I don't know if there are men here. We welcome you wherever you've logged in from. It's about to rain where I am. Hi, Harriet. We can see that you have a very big smile. Keep that smile on. Hi, everybody. Okay, so today we are going to talk about self-care. It's going to be interactive, just like most of our sessions are. Interactive, feel free to send your question even now, your expectations of this session. Where do we start? Think of maybe, let's say if you're in a hurry and you're charging your phone, yeah? Chances are, if you're in a hurry, you are going to charge your phone and only get just maybe 10% to take you through maybe the next few hours until you can get home. If you're a person probably who uses Uber, the only way you can order Uber is off your phone and if you have battery. But what happens when your battery runs down? Yeah, you will have to find a place to charge and then order Uber, and then you can get home. But when you take care of yourself, yeah, it means that your battery is fully charged. It means you'll not do anything in a hurry. When you get home, some of the things that you will do, you will charge your phone to full capacity so that it can take you through the next day. So what happens when you charge your phone for 10 minutes, for 30 minutes, for 5 minutes, just to get a little battery? It will spoil the battery of your phone. So that is why self-care is so important. When we look at mental wellness, the thing that stands in the way of mental wellness, or people accessing the service, or even people just being able to speak about the things that are very important to them, it is stigma. But when it comes to self-care, people say it is time. So is it that you don't have time? Is it that every other person can access your time, can access you, but you don't feel you are worthy enough to give yourself this time? What is that makes you feel you are not worthy of this time that you so freely give to very many other people? So before I go into self-care and break it down and unpack it, I do not know if Stella is ready. Stella, is there another person? Have you called your friend again?
Hey, my friend, I don't know. I'm actually very concerned. I don't know where she is. I've tried to call her so many times. But you know, I have another friend who
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you know
I have another friend.
Stays near her?
Yeah, I have another friend who I think is also going through like a similar situation, and maybe it would be nice to touch base with her to see how she's doing. What I know is she juggles up quite a bit. Let me just make a phone call to her.
Okay.
Hi, Diana. How are you?
Hi, Stella.
Hi, dear. Hi, how are you? Happy New Year. Happy Valentine's. How are you doing?
I'm really great. It's Valentine's coming round. It's already 14.
Any plans for Valentine's?
I think I will, I'll book somewhere to go for lunch to treat myself and the people in my life.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's amazing. When did you discover, like, you're just gonna take yourself out and what has been happening in your life? Is there a special occasion? I thought Valentine's you're supposed to be treated by Mr. So and so. What is happening? You're the one who's gonna be treating others.
Many times I'm the one who decides where we go. So I'm going to make the decision and coordinate and make it happen.
Wow, fantastic. Is this something that you started learning the other day, or is something that you've been doing for a very long time?
In my relationship, I realized that my strength is coordinating making these things happen, and that's not his strength specifically. And so I decided to take the lead in that arena, coordinating and making sure that celebrations happen and special days are recognized. Yes.
Amazing. Wow. So you choose you, even when it comes to, you don't delegate that part of you. You choose your happiness and you make things happen. Totally love that. Totally love that. How are the kids, Diana?
The kids are
How
great.
has it been homeschooling and all that?
It's not been easy, but I think I was able to set boundaries with, I have two kids, one is 10 years and the other is 5 years. And with a 10-year-old, we have clear boundaries and expectations. So he knows when I'm called in to help. For example, it must be that he's tried and he must show me where he's stuck. It can't just be open-ended questions, or I can't do it. And with the 5-year-old, I got support because I realized that his attention span and his needs are very different from the 10-year-old, and he needs 100%, attention when you're working with him. So I got help. I asked for help, and I get help to work with him in his schoolwork.
Awesome. Diana, when I grow up, I want to be like you. Thank you so much. You've created systems and structures of just, taking care of you. I really, really appreciate it. And looking forward to speaking. I have to take you out for lunch, Diana, so that you can show me how you do that, how you create systems and structures around your happiness. Love it, love it, love it. Grace, as you can see, we've just had a conversation with Diana. We are looking forward to learning from everybody else about how we create those systems and structures to self-care and self-love. Over to you.
I hope you can hear me. Where I am, it's raining, but regardless, I hope when you can't hear me, raise your hand or bang on your table or something, or send me flowers. You know, Valentine's Day is coming up, and yeah, I would also want to get some love. But before we go into self-care and what it is, just to unpack the whole meaning of self-care, I would like to invite Primera to just shed some light on what your authentic self is. And then we shall dive back into self-care and what it means. Because self-care does not, it is one and the same with body, mind, and soul. So when it comes to self-care, it's everything you. You see how you point at another person? Have you done this? One finger is pointing that side, but all the rest are, meaning you have to look at yourself first. You have to be aware of the things that are important to you if you are to help other people. Primera? We can't hear you.
Thank you so much, Grace. I like the idea of authentic self. And, authentic means the genuine part of me, and there is no way we can take care of ourselves if we do not understand our genuine self, like who we are, and ask very, very hard questions about yourself. I discussed a sentence with Grace Linda earlier, which was loving yourself back to your authentic self through self-care. We cannot go back to our own self if we do not actually figure out who we are. So that's a very, very important question to start with. When it comes to self-care, I must admit, I have failed at it terribly. Really, really failed at it in terms of very many areas, not because of not being authentic to myself or genuine to myself, but not taking care of myself at one point or the other. So I have failed at it, I must admit. It has been a journey of me learning how to actually take care of myself. Some days of my life, I have left office the latest, and I know where all the switches to the office are, which is a very bad thing, to the lights. That means you're leaving last every day, which is not good. And for me, being part of the community that I have been part of, Girls for Girls, has been one of those areas that has moved me from my bubble to a place of authentic self. My first session at Girls for Girls was Courageous Leadership, and the first thing was about finding your village. That particular statement, it's number 3 on my booklet. If you have your mentee's book, it's number 3, your village. And so that is where I began, like my authentic self. Then in terms of finding my authentic self and finding that village, of my own village, and having a village that is actually honest, I can ask questions. I can ask Claire, how am I doing? Prim, you're not doing this well. You know, like you need to be better at this. What are my values in my own life? Do I know them? And those are some of the things that I had to ask myself at the very beginning. So for me, I have said before that I have actually failed at it to a point where I have had to be in the hospital and admitted to hospital to actually find myself again, 0. And for me, there's something we read last year in one of the book club books, and I'm going to refer to it. There's a book we read, the first book we read was called Switch. Page 93 of the book Switch is when you're at the beginning, do not obsess about the middle, because the middle is going to look different when you get there. Just look for a strong beginning and a strong ending and get moving. That was last year. Still part of my journey it's okay, this is the beginning of me trying to take care of myself completely, but I do not know what that journey is going to look like. So today, as part of this session, we'll be us sharing some of those things we can do on that journey. All the things are not applicable to everybody, but one of those things might be applicable to you in terms of your own journey as we go through. So for me, the part of authentic self is just getting to know who we are, our true self. What can I do? What can't I do? Some of us are good at certain things and some of us are not good at certain things. If I tell someone to write, they may not be good at writing. If I tell you to read, sometimes you're not very good at reading, but we are very good at listening. So I'll be happy to listen to an audiobook as part of my building myself. And sometimes I'll be okay with reading books. I enjoy reading a lot more than I can even say. Like I would spend the day reading. And yet someone else is looking at me and thinking, how are you enjoying that? But it just comes from understanding who I am and knowing who I am and loving myself for who I am. There is something I wrote at the beginning of the year for myself when the year began. We started with a lot of resolutions. I was looking forward to the goal setting session so much. But just for myself, I said, it's a new year, and new you. I said, no, thank you. I'll just be better than I was yesterday. And I need to be uncomfortable for a while. It is a quote by Liz Jones. So what does it mean? There's no new me overnight. Just because today was 31st and today is 1st Jan 2021, or today is 12th February 2021, does not mean I'm going to overnight become a different person. All I have to do is be better than I was yesterday. It's about the small incremental things we do every day that are going to build us and who we are. So being my authentic self means I am being honest with myself that yes, I am going to make changes. I am going to go for goal setting and I'm going to set goals. This year we were told how to set goals in different contexts. An amazing idea. And in those contexts which I'm setting my goals, I'm going to be so genuine to myself to a point that I am only going to set maybe just one goal for every context that I have. As a mom, I'm going to set only one goal for myself. That is me, who I am. I'm not being Stella, I'm not being Diana, I'm not being Claire, just who I am in every facet of my life. And I'm happy to be myself and be me. Thank you. Grace Linda.
Thank you so much, Primera. I guess you're starting to realize some of the things that, there's a question that I had put in the chat. Have you met your authentic self yet? I think, Primera, that time when you were saying that you have failed terribly, I think I have to confess that sometimes I also fail. Sometimes I'm wondering whether, is this what I want? Is it what I'm going to do the rest of my life? I guess we all have those moments. But thank you so much for sharing that bit of authentic self. And now, I would like to hear from Stella about her friend Debbie, because she has been looking for Debbie. And even Diana, I think she even forgot to ask Diana, her neighbor, where Debbie is, or what has been going on with her life. So, Stella.
Hey, I've looked for Debbie. I have so looked for Debbie. Debbie. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Debbie. Debbie. Oh my goodness. I am more worried about Debbie. Debbie.
Hi,
Debbie.
Stella.
Oh my goodness. Are you okay?
Not really, not really. I was seeing your missed calls, but I couldn't pick. I had a lot on me. I don't know where to start, but it's tough.
Gosh, Debbie, you're never late. I mean, what happened? What's happening? I'm more worried about you than anything. I've been looking for you like there's no tomorrow. Talk to me. Talk to me. What's happening? What's happening?
It's been tough. It's been tough. Stella, 2020 came, COVID came. We lost staff. People died due to COVID. There's been a lot in my home. Hold the line, Stella. Hold the line. Hold. People don't shout. Yes, you want me? No, let me come. Let me come. Just shower, do your homework. Oh my goodness. Now they're looking for me. Oh, Stella, it's not been easy at all. I have tried to make it work, but man, it's not easy. There is no money at my office. I work all the time. I am not happy, Stella. Yes, please, Stella, hold the line again. My goodness, Stella, someone is looking for me. Can I first attend to them? Please hold. Yes, please. You want some work? Oh my goodness, I need to submit a report now. I don't
can
even
hold.
know. I am too late. It's too much for me. Stella, what do I do? Oh my goodness. I need to submit quickly. Yes, Stella.
Debbie, you need to pause. You need to pause. First of all, you need to pause. Okay? Take a deep breath. You look so distressed. You look so stressed. You don't even have lipstick on. I know you with lipstick all the time, bright red lipstick. You look so sad. How can I help you, Debbie? How can I help you?
It's tough.
Do you know which specific area you
Tough.
you need help in? Because I'm hearing you shouting at the kids. I'm hearing you calling people to submit deadlines. I'm hearing you. I mean, it looks like you
It's
are
tough.
falling through the floorboards. Tell me, talk to me. Just talk to me.
Everywhere. My goodness. Everything is falling apart. I don't have time for myself anymore. Everything is too much around me, the work, the children. I have to prepare dinner for my husband. He has to eat matoke every day, that traditional food. I don't have time to do that all the time. It's weighing me down. I love swimming. I no longer go to swim. I don't have the time. I don't have money to take care of myself, go to a spa. It's been crazy. COVID is here. We lost staff at our workplace. We're up and about. There's a lot that is happening. What do I do? It's getting crazy. I don't love myself anymore. I don't love the people around me. Stella, I need your help. Now that you called me, I need your help.
Oh my goodness. And I am so willing to help you. But you know what? We're going to help you as a village because we are your village, you're your support system. And so at this particular point, let me just, I know ladies have been listening in and listening to Debbie's story. Grace Linda, please allow me to get a few comments from the chat room because at this particular point, even me, I'm distressed with Debbie and I'm thinking I can be a pity party and sympathize and cry with her a river. I am just looking, I know she has beautiful babies, they are growing up. I know she has a very interesting career. People are saying, take a few deep breaths and breathe, breathe, breathe. Apart from breathing, what else should Debbie do? Okay, so what else should Debbie do for heaven's sake, you know? So let me see from the chat room. Debbie, there's a lot of love coming in for you at this particular point. People are saying every single time you feel overwhelmed, pause and breathe. Justine is saying she needs to unplug first and take leave. Debbie, can you take some leave or have you exhausted your leave days? Debbie has disappeared again. Oh my goodness, she is running a crisis. Grace Linda, so thank you so much for your comments. People pause, breathe, and pray. Thank you so much. I hear Rachel is saying, take 30 minutes off. Rachel N is saying, Debbie, you're beautiful and you're a strong queen. Suo is saying everyone will be fine. Don't worry about them. Justine is saying, and come back with a better plan. Debbie needs to put her oxygen mask first. People are saying breathe. I think there's a breathing technique, Grace Linda, we need to explore. Debbie is worried about everyone else but herself. That's from Grace. Have some me time. My goodness, where do we create that? Harriet is saying, call up on your network like G4G. That's why we are here today. Asimwe Bena is saying, it's overwhelming, dear Debbie. Kindly seek help and also try to find time for yourself. Again, time for yourself. How do we do that? Debbie, think of something that makes you happy for 5 minutes. Wow, that's a good one. Debbie should fix some time for herself to rethink, re-energize. Rachel, have you considered getting a maid to assist with the house chores? Okay, Vivian, delegate. My goodness, I can see she's having a crazy pray, pray, pray. Catherine Amara, Debbie, we are here, power of the village. You still look beautiful even in distress. Debbie, you need to hear that. Debbie, can you hear us? Wow.
Yes, I can. Thank you, ladies.
A lot of love coming in from you. My goodness, take time to read the chat room, and a lot of love is coming back to you. And I'm so sure there are so many women like Debbie today. And Grace Linda, please feel free to unpack this, because we are ready with a notebook and pen to find how to breathe, how to delegate, how to find a maid, how to create a support system, how to create pockets for ourselves for what you and Primera have started talking about, self-care and self-love. Over to you, Grace.
Thank you so much, Stella. I can see that Debbie's probably she's going to even get Valentine package, because the love that is in the chat room is, overflowing. So Debbie, be very expectant. It does not stop here. People are very practical in this G4G. They do not stop at just saying these words. They actually act on them. Yeah, I'm trying to share my screen. I don't know if you can see anything.
Not yet, Grace.
Okay. Can you see anything?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. If you notice,
yes, we can now. Thank you, Grace.
This picture, I stayed away from red and yellow because I do not want to. Yeah, this is an engagement that is going to be free flow. No politics here, no religion, anything. We are welcoming everyone into this park because it's inclusive. So the reason I put this picture here is because there's a lot of calm on her face. I cannot say this is the holistic picture of self-care. I don't know what she may be going through, but I thought of, when I saw her face, I was thinking, wow, she's so at peace. She's just a cup of, I don't know what is in there. It could be wine in her cup, pretending it's tea. It could be tea for real. It could be water. But she's so much, the peace on her face says it all. So today we're going to learn about self-care, and we are going to unpack what it is, what it entails, the things that, the purpose for it. And then as we go, feel free to ask or interject or even supplement. So self-care. Self-care, what is it to you? And when I say what is it to you, I'm asking because everyone sees self-care differently. The self-care that I will think I need is not the same self-care that Alan or Diana or Stella or Primera will need. Everyone looks at self-care differently. And why is that? Because my authentic self is so different and unique from another person's. My needs are so different and unique from another person's. My circumstances, the things that influence my time are so different from. The kind of work I do is different. So what is self-care? Self-care is basically you paying attention to your needs. Do you need to rest? Do you need to eat more? Do you need to have a routine body check or physical something? Do you need to go out more? Do you need alone time more? Do you need to socialize? what is it that you need? So self-care looks at you. You can put your hand here, because it pulls your attention to yourself and forget everything else around you. You forget family. Yes, we love them, but once in a while you put them on the shelf. You forget your bestie, you forget your work, and you just pay attention to everything you. Self-care is also intentional. It is intentional because there is no, for instance, you cannot say you're practicing self-care by reading a book and the TV is on and there's music playing and then you're also chatting, you know? There is no way you're practicing self-care. That way you're not giving anything attention, not yourself, not the book, not the music, not the person you're chatting with, yeah? So self-care is intentional. The other thing about self-care is that it is consistent. Very many people look at self-care as a reward. How long does a reward take? If you're to indulge me, how long does a reward take? For instance, if you've been reading for a paper and today the timetable comes out and they say on Friday next week, you will be having the final exam. Normally after this final exam, people feel the need to celebrate, yeah? So they reward themselves. That is the same thing that we normally do and we think it's self-care by us rewarding ourselves. We should not look at self-care as just maybe going to the spa, doing a mani or pedi, or even someone saying, oh, your natural hair looks terrible, you should bleach. By the way, I shouldn't look at that as a reward. You know, I've been looking very funny and now I prefer to, let me go to the salon to just have a makeover. Self-care is not a reward. We say that self-care is intentional. Self-care is consistent, meaning it is a daily activity. Every day you do one thing that makes you better for tomorrow. That one thing, it is on repeat on Monday, on Tuesday, until the next Monday, and then it goes on. The other thing about self-care is that it is influenced by so many things. I think I mentioned earlier. It is influenced by the time you have to spare. It is influenced by your type of job. It is influenced by your social interactions. It is influenced by your history and background, your family, your beliefs, your values, all those things, even your religion. There are so many things that could influence your self-care. But how does the rest of the world see it? When you choose time and you say, I am going to go on a trip by myself. I'm not taking children. I'm not taking my sister. I'm not going with my mother. I'm just going by myself. How many people have tried this? They say, you know, normally when you're watching something that is above 8, they say, do not try this at home if it's dangerous. Me, I'm sending you to try this at home. Probably one of those days, tell your husband, tell your boyfriend, tell your mother, tell your sister, your sibling, I will not be around for 3 days and I'm going on a trip by myself. Yeah? Is there anyone who has tried it? I cannot see the chat. Stella? Or someone raise their hand. Phyllis?
Yes, Teta is saying yes, she has, and I have too recently.
Okay.
Vivian, yes.
Okay. And how did that go? How did you deliver the message?
Actually, many people have.
How was it received that I'm going by myself? I need to do me. You know those statements?
Yeah, in fact, many ladies are saying, yes, they've traveled alone without family and no one had a problem with it. Once I got over the guilt feeling, it was fantastic. Yes, but it's been a while though. So many people have done it as a hit and run, but not consistent, as you said. Have done it maybe as a reward, but not as a consistent thing. Then another reaction from Justine, they always think I've become a loner. I totally relate, Justine. Harriet, I do it all the time. We have family vacation, self vacation, and hubby wife vacation. Vacations, I'm telling you, new words are coming up. So I was
Nice.
asked how they would cope without a maid. So I had to get somebody while I was away. Grace Linda, the reactions are coming in swiftly and steadily.
Okay, that is lovely. And then do you realize that you can have different self-care for yourself in different scenarios around different people, in different environments? Yeah. For instance, I will have to share, it's a bit personal, but I have a brother who is struggling with alcohol. Yeah. But because of this, he will find himself either needing money or not keeping a job, or probably just lying so much. And there is one thing that I don't like, that, you know, we all have those things that maybe rub us the wrong way, a person who lies. And when it comes to him, if he's telling you right now something, you have to constantly ask again and again to make sure that that's the truth, because his new normal is to lie. But I also don't blame him, because when you tell a lie for a very long time, it becomes your truth. So when he's telling me these stories, it is his truth, and I have to allow him that. But my self-care plan around him is that I do not concentrate or pay much attention to the stories. I have a particular checklist. I'm like, okay, did I see him today? Yes. Does he look happy? Yes. Does he have food? Yes. Finished. He is not sick? Finished. The rest of the stories, he lied about so and so, he said this, I do not concentrate on that. That is my self-care plan around my brother. That is how I navigate him. So I include him in my life. I do not put him on the outside, but at the same time, I know that my self-care plan is that I don't get angry, frustrated. I do not pay attention to the lies. So moving on, this self-care, you have to know the purpose that you're practicing your self-care. Is it to self-preserve? Is it self-preservation? Is it probably self-compassion? What is it? Why do you need a particular self-care plan? What will it achieve for you? Yeah? Is it to maintain a certain lifestyle? Is it to curb or to avert maybe health issues? Why are you practicing a certain self-care plan? So anyway, when we are looking at the self, and we can see, like I said earlier, mental wellness or mental health, the biggest issue with it is the stigma. So people do not want to access it because of the stigma that surrounds it. I don't want to be seen talking to a counselor. I don't want to be seen entering a psychiatrist's office. I do not want to ask for help. I don't want to tell people that I'm struggling with depression. I'm feeling anxious about my job. No one wants that. But what does the rest of the world look at when it comes to self-care? What does it look like to the rest of the world? And the world, I mean the people you stay with, your immediate family, your relatives, your friends, your colleagues at work. What does it look like? It looks like, it screams selfish, 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 selfish. Imagine a scenario. You're in the workplace, but you have decided that in your lunch break, you are actually going to pray. You are going to pray. You've had a lunch hour. There are people who pray lunch hour. But for you to be able to pray, you need privacy. Yes? So imagine that there is probably, you decide that instead of going for lunch at 1, I will go at 2 when the cafeteria is empty. And when you get there, a friend of yours comes and says, you will pray when you get home, because in this time, I have to tell you about my issues. You see, So for the rest of the world, if you tell your friend, no, this is my time, I'm supposed to pray. I pray every time at 2, every day at 2. So I'm not going to listen to your issues. The first thing she will say or think, if she doesn't say it, she will think it, is that you are selfish. You do not have time for me. You are, you're not being considerate. That is what self-care looks like to the rest of the world. But for very many of us, we also look at self-care like that. What will my children think? What will my mother say? What will my neighbors think of me? If they have a birthday party and I feel like sleeping in and I don't attend, you see. So isn't it rather unfair for us to also think that taking time off for ourselves to look at our needs is selfish? I think not every, like if the world is against you, you can't be against yourself. And when we look at this picture, it's the hierarchy of mental health needs. And why did I put it here? It's because I wanted you to see that there is no point. You should not be feeling guilty about taking care of yourself. Why? It is actually a basic need when it comes to your mental well-being. It is number 8, if I'm not mistaken, in this hierarchy of needs. First, bottom of this pack is support, meaning at one time you'll have to ask for help. You'll need support in one area to make sure the other area works. I think I'll share with Harriet. Between December 23rd and January somewhere, I had no house help. Why? Because my house help decided to go, leave all her things here. So I kept hoping she's going to come back. I did not think of getting someone else. And when she finally came through, I had already gotten someone else. But guess what? Because my house was not in order, no house help, I had to, my work kind of suffered, So my year took a while to start, yeah? So I needed support of the maid so that I can do other things. Treatment could take on any form, yeah? For instance, what do you do when you're sad? Treatment could be you crying, breaking down, crying and saying it's okay for me to cry. I just need a day to cry and make my heart lighter. Stella, in that chat, I can see different comments, and if there is a question, if there's a comment, please feel free to interject.
Absolutely.
Okay.
People getting a lot of aha moments that self-care is not selfish, and what you just said about if the world is against ourselves. And then the last comment I'll just share with you is having a self-care plan around specific people. That has really resonated with the audience.
Okay. So we were all at treatment, and treatment can be anything because you're trying to get better at something or feel much better. Because when you're sick, you treat. Sleep is basically recharging, and that one you are supposed to recharge, reboot. After everything is said and done, you're supposed to allow yourself to shut down so that you can be fresh and you start a new day. Coping strategies, you have to develop these around you. Just like I said, I have my self-care plan in different circumstances towards different people. If I know so-and-so is going to piss me off, or they never have positive anything to say to me, chances are my self-care plan will be, if today I can't take their negativity, I will not see them. I will not cross paths with them. If they are somewhere and I have to be there, I will keep away. I will try to interact with other people that boost my positivity. So that would be my coping strategy. Healthy relationships. And a lot of this self-care, for you to be able to be okay, body, mind, and soul, is dependent. Remember the things that I said that influence your self-care plan, that influence how you achieve your self-care, how you reach that actualization of, okay, When it comes to this, I know what to do. When it comes to that, that doesn't bother me. That doesn't piss me off anymore. I'm at peace. Yeah. Healthy, meaning you have to mind your social health, meaning that's the quality of your relationships. It can be friends, it can be with your children, it can be, yeah, because these healthy relationships are the ones that will also offer you support. Self-compassion. Many people talk about forgiving themselves, yeah? But is it in the totality of the word, forgive yourself? Or is it that you keep going back to your failure, and say, in fact, they've given me this task again. They just want me to fail because I failed at the other one. I can't do these things, you know? Are you having self-pity or is it self-compassion? Remember that all these things, there's a very thin line between this and that, positive and negative. So is it self-compassion or is it self-pity? Yeah. Self-transcendence, I think that's peace, calm, being at peace with the person that you are, being at peace in your decisions. Have you ever taken a decision and you keep going back and forth in your mind? Should I have said this? Should I have gone with that? Should I? I think it happens normally when probably G4G, when you're negotiating for yourself and others, and you probably sell yourself short. Yet, and then later you realize that the offer was even much bigger. You keep going back and forth. Should I even call them? Should I, you know? But you have to be at peace with everything that you decide to do in your decisions, in the person that you are, in the final product of you. That is self-transcendence. You reach a certain level and you are at peace, no matter what, no matter how everything changes around you. Self-care. We are at self-care. In your mental health journey, mental wellness hierarchy of needs, self-care is number 8. Humor, things that make you happy, really. Because when you're doing self-care, it is everything positive, anything that makes you happy. Is it a group of friends? Is it a particular friend? You notice that everyone has friends for every situation. There is a friend you will call if you need to laugh. There's a friend you will call when you need to pray. There's a particular friend you will call if you need to vent. Yeah? So humor goes a long way as well. And when it comes to humor, when you laugh, when you dance, when you have a good time, it goes back to your brain, its chemistry, and what is released, the hormones that are released are happy hormones, you see. At the point where you're stressed, your brain becomes more receptive to any red flag, to any alert of stress. You pick up more on. If you notice, happy people are rarely angered by small things. Do you know why? It's because the brain part that is responsible for happiness, for feeling good, those hormones are constantly produced, meaning that stress hormone is suppressed, and meaning that person is more receptive to anything that is good, happy, exciting. If it's to do with maybe doing something out of character, being spontaneous, they are there. If it means, if they say, can you pray for this, and they do not tell them beforehand, it's okay, they will. Yeah, it will not work the same way if a person has been, is not happy or does not consistently seek this happiness, because their brain will be more receptive to even the smallest. They'll pick on the smallest of things. Why did you tell me beforehand that I had to pray when we started this session? Why did you, why did you call me? Things like that. Empathy, meaning you put yourself in the shoes of others, but then also allow other people to put themselves in your shoes. Let people in. We all have this boundary of this person does not cross here, and for good reason. But for the people, is there a person who crosses that line? You should have at least that one person that can cross that line where other people are not allowed. Rest, I think it was the same as sleep, or it's not necessarily sleep. Some people rest by maybe doing an activity. Yeah, that is their rest. Hope. I keep telling people that we are all here and we are doing different professions. We are in different businesses. But if someone asked you, what are you selling? What would you say? I keep saying that I'm selling hope. I sell hope because when a person comes to me and they're feeling sad about whatever, I do not have any solution. I do not have the right advice because there is no right one thing that fits all. But I know that if I hold this person's hand, we shall definitely reach a certain objective. If nothing at all, they will have left me with their baggage. They will have vented, offloaded, and traveled lighter. I don't know if there are any questions. I would like to move on to the next.
Yes, please, we can. We'll take questions at the Q&A section, and somewhere in between when the ladies are speaking. We can proceed, Grace.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Let me just stop sharing this for a bit. Yeah, so on when it comes to all the things that you've heard about self-care, about what it is and then what it's not and what it looks like to you, and I hope that for a moment you stopped and said, when it comes to my family, the self-care is to keep quiet. When it comes to, for instance, you realize that at a certain point there are these very many weddings, very many. Self-care for me was that I do not attend the wedding meetings. Why? I do not have that time. But if the person is so important to me, I will attend at least one. Yeah, maybe the last meeting. And then I'll give my little contribution. And that's it. And for me, that's enough. So this self-care refuses to take into account other people's expectations of you. It refuses and allows the things that are important to you to take precedence. So it is your needs first, your wants second, and every other person after that. I think there is a question. Oh, I think there's a comment.
Yeah, Grace. I would say I've noted the questions that are coming in, and so we will be able to front them to the different ladies. Maybe we can proceed. Yeah.
Okay. I also see that we are pressed for time. I would like to invite Jackie Namara, because when it comes to self-care, like I said, there are different scenarios where you have to apply different self-care mechanisms. And Jackie Namara will give us a different angle of this self-care that keeps her sane despite her surrounding, despite her environment and whatever else she has to deal with. Jackie, welcome.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Stella. And ladies, a very good, I think we are officially crossing into evening. Happy to be with you all. I wanted to share self-care from a perspective of being a caregiver. I know as women, at some point in your life, you're going to have to take care of somebody, your children, your spouse, your partner, your parents, friends. And there are times when this might overwhelm you. And really the most devastating thing, if you are in that position, is to burn out because there's someone who is depending on you to provide them usually health care. It could be other forms of care. And so I just wanted to share a little bit of what we try to do in our scenarios. So some of you know that our son has type 1 diabetes, and he was diagnosed when he was 1.5 years old. He turned 13, so I have a teenager in the house, so you can imagine. That's an interesting one on its own. But I think what we have learned in this journey is, first and foremost, do not put any unrealistic demands and expectations on yourself. If you are, you have a person who is going to have, who suffers from a progressive disease where you know the longer they have the disease, the worse the symptoms and the more involved the care becomes. It is unrealistic for you to expect that you will have a positive effect on their health by your involvement, because you cannot control how the disease progresses. You can maybe slow down certain things from happening, but you have to accept that there is going to be a natural progression of things, and allow yourself to feel what you need to feel through those processes, but know that you play whatever part you can to the best of your ability. The other thing is also about control, especially now. I know the last 12 months have been particularly hard. Loss of jobs, maybe you've reduced income. So when you don't have money, you don't have the resources or even the skills, it makes it that much more difficult to plan and organize the care for your loved ones. And what we have done in our case is that for us, looking after David is a family affair. We never hid his condition from any of our family and friends. And so because we have that support, whenever you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed or you're feeling stuck, there is always someone willing to step up and say, hey, how can I help? Because we have been open with what we are going through. We've not ever hidden what we're going through. But it also helps to have, if you can, a support group. So we started one probably about 9 years ago now, where it's just really about sitting and talking with other families that are going through what we go through, and just sharing those experiences and frustrations. It can be something as simple as trying to figure out where to get the most affordable devices to help you in the diabetes care and management, all the way through to whatever interesting little milestone you've been able to accomplish. So you should see what happens when we have good blood glucose results. That's cause for celebration. So all of that helps. It's also important to try and get enough sleep. There will be times when that's easier said than done, and I like that Grace put it on the hierarchy of the mental health needs, because even when you don't have the the caregiver stress, even just normally with day-to-day hectic living, if you're not getting enough sleep, you know how that makes you. You become irritable just about everywhere. So trying to find some pockets of sleep, whether if you're not able to sleep through the night, then maybe during the day, a couple of naps just help to balance out so that overall you're getting enough sleep. Then the other is to just set realistic goals. I always tell people, we are not superwoman, so put the cape down. There will be days when it will go badly, and just embrace the train smash of that day and say, you know what, okay, today was a bad day. What did we learn from today? How can we go and make tomorrow a better day? And then if you have access to care, I know in Uganda, we don't have that sort of structured care. If you're dealing with more organized sort of scenarios in terms of healthcare, there are places that provide what they call daycare. So you can go and leave your patient, or you can have someone come into your home and help you to support you for a certain number of hours. And if you can get that through your network of friends and family, please take advantage, but make sure they know what to do. Don't just abandon them and not give them instructions on how to care for your patient. Then Grace talked about it also earlier, just finding those little moments. So for me, usually it's very early in the morning, just taking, even if it's 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but that little time that is just for you, to help you recharge, to help you, set your thoughts for the day. That all helps to keep your sanity and keep you going. Because the last thing you want to do, as I like what we call her Senga Harriet. She always says that you don't have to wear your I don't know what the expression is in English. The world doesn't need to see all your problems on your face. There needs to be a time. It sounds so much better in Luganda, but I'm cognizant that we have international members. But that you should, when you step out, they shouldn't see that Jack is about to die. No, I might have my moments, but I always try and look for the positive. And I must commend our son David, because on the days when we feel like we have given up, he's actually the one who tells us, hang on a minute, I'm the one who is living through this. So if I can handle it, then really all you have to do is support me. You don't have to stress me. I will figure out a way to keep myself positive and happy. There will be good days, there will be bad days, but if I can do this, then certainly you can. So those are just a few tips. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of things, but because we don't have a lot of time, that's what I can share for now. But get the help you need. As we said, don't die in your movie, because without that self-care for you who is a caregiver, then you will end up being the patient, and that creates even more problems for the family. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Flowers for you. Greetings to Daudi, my friend. I'd like to, I think it takes a lot of courage to share from a personal story, to share with other people that are behind these cameras that have not switched on their videos. Let's just hear from Claire. Claire, you're up. You look lovely in pink.
Thank you so much, ladies. Flowers for everyone. Thank you for sharing from the heart. That's what Girls for Girls is all about. And I've been taking notes because the journey to learn, it never ends. It never ends. And I just want to maybe begin with a question. Why is it so hard for us to practice self-care? Why is it so hard? And I want to share my experience, and I hope that someone on this call will learn from my experience. In October, mid-October this year, I had to undergo a major surgery. And it was a wake-up call for me because the doctors had told me over 3 years, and they had told me, Claire, you have to have this surgery. It's not until one of the doctors told me I won't make it to 50 years because I put a strain on my heart. And that's when it became real for me. And most of us have insurance, but we never go for checkup. We never go for the blood test, the urine test, the cholesterol, which was one of my major problems. So I believe health is one of the most important self-care aspects. If women on this call could actually take that very seriously, then it could save us from a lot. And you know, the environment we live in, you try to juggle. I actually thought that I was Superwoman. 4 children, a job, you have a business, you have a hustle, you have all these things. But when you have that one moment that you have to decide, then you need to put your health first. And I also wanted to share that if one of the things that is happening to our generation is trying to keep up. Yeah, we've tried to keep up with the Kardashians, we tried to keep up with the Joneses. Now we are keeping up with the Musokes, we are keeping up with the Chibukas, you know. We have to follow on Instagram, you know, that desire to try to keep up is why married women are on status at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And you wonder, what was she doing? On status on social media at 2, at 3. We are losing our time, you know, like Grace Linda said, we don't have time. Many of us claim we don't have time, but what are we using our time for, you know? We have to have systems. I believe we need to have order in our lives if we are to make it. You know, our bodies are always speaking. They always keep count and they always win. We can have all these, you know, careers, achievements, but if you don't have health, and that is one of the things that I have learned through the COVID period. Now, I don't even have to force the kids to eat their greens. I personally have to eat my greens, you know? Suddenly we are all juicing. Suddenly we are all being healthy and taking the salads and all that. But I pray that this can become like a spiritual practice where we put our health first. We need to nurture ourselves as women. We need to nurture ourselves if we are to be good bosses, if we are to be good mothers, good wives. I realized when I was ill that I couldn't do anything. I couldn't help my team. I couldn't help my family. I couldn't do anything for my kids because I was unwell, you know? So as women, I think that is a very important aspect. And I think some of the ladies here have very, very good examples. But for me, I learned, I think experience is still the best teacher. Yes, but I've learned that once you know, you become better. Once you know, you become better. And it's an uphill task, but it has enabled me to share this with my family and with my friends. I keep telling them that, you know what, this was a wake-up call for me, but you don't need to get to this point for you to get to that level. And then one of the other things I have learned is we are not alive. As women, we move, we do all these things, but are we truly alive? If I ask you today, are you alive? Yeah, are you alive? Sometimes we worry about the future so much. We worry about the future security, future, and nothing is guaranteed to us if you don't have life. So we need to be present. You know, we need to be present. We need to understand the power of now. You know, the power of now. It's a title from a book, but you need to be present. You need to live a life of gratefulness. It is important that we are grateful for what we have, where we are, and what we have achieved. So without comparison, which is actually a very big vice for us women. So I just wanted to share that bit and just to encourage everyone that the body always keeps score and it always wins. So we need to be very, very, very careful with our health. Please go for that checkup. It's part of self-care. Listen to your body. The constant headaches that I had were not a result of anything else, of the heat. It was actually my body warning me that, you know what, it's time to stop. Many of the people in the chat were saying you need to breathe. And breath can actually mean prayer. Breath can actually mean pause, press that pause button on whatever you're doing and be present in the now. Be present in the now. So I hope that from this chat and from my own experience, people, the ladies will learn to take care of themselves and to take mental health also as an issue. And my last point would be sometimes self-care is very different for all of us. Stella would have a different type of self-care, Diana another one. So after this call, I just encourage you to know what works for you. It's like the love languages. All of us have different love languages. Find out, go back to that place of childhood. What makes you happy? Sometimes you ask, Angela, what makes you happy? And someone has to think about it. Someone has to take time and say, I don't know. We should get to a point where we actually know what makes us happy and go after it. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. I hope I've shared with someone, and I'll be willing to take any questions, if any. Thank you so much. Back to you, Stella and Grace.
Thank you so much, Claire. I think what I picked from your sharing was self-love. You loving yourself enough to say, I need this surgery, no matter the risk, I want to weigh and see if I want to be alive tomorrow or I want to wait until things are really, really bad. Yeah, so from a place of self-love, self-care versus self-love, are they one and the same? Claire, we shall have questions at the end, so don't worry. I'm sure someone will want to directly, yes. But self-care and self-love, are they one and the same? You may wonder. But we have a person who has experienced or who lives each day practicing this self-love, who is going to share with us. Harriet Musoke, the floor is yours.
Wow. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Grace Linda, for breaking down this topic, which I really love. Honestly, I must admit, Stella reached out to me and wanted me to tackle a different topic. But when I looked at all the various topics, as much as I was so busy, I was like, I want to be part of self-care and self-love. I want to be under Grace Linda. I've just jumped out of induction, but induction is part of my job. But as a head of human capital, I had to tell someone to step in for me because I wanted to do something that I really like. So that's why I'm here. My name is Harriet Navakoza Musoke, also known as Sengahati, and I'm the head of human capital at DFCU Bank. I hope you can all hear me. You can? Thank you very much. So without much further ado, and because we are limited with time, I really want the ladies to share their, to ask their questions, to share their personal stories, what everyone is going through. So Grace Linda asked me to differentiate the two. What is the difference between self-care and self-love? Thank you very much. I saw someone saying, you look gorgeous. Of course, I have to see that comment. It's very destructive. So first way to, to give me those comments because I'll be very distracted. But anyways, yes, what's the difference between self-care and self-love? I think self-love comes first. And I keep on telling even my people at work that if you don't love yourself, even my husband knows, I've been married 23 years. And I told him, of course, like any marriage, you have your own problems, your own issues. And I told him, honey, if I didn't love myself, I think I would have walked out of this marriage long time ago, because the emotional abuse at times, the words you use at times, if you're not very strong, the person doesn't have to hit you, but the words they use can really hurt you. But because I love myself, so it comes from self-love. So self-love comes before self-care. You can't self-care for yourself if you don't love yourself. So that's very, very important. And I'll use an example of what Grace Linda put out there, that her brother is suffering from alcohol. That's really a person who suffers from alcohol. You might call it an addiction, but actually it's not an addiction. It's self-destruction. Because if you loved yourself, I don't think you'll be able to drink yourself silly, whereby you drop on the road or you stay in bars or you have a bad hangover. And with all due respect, I don't want to offend anyone, but when you drink yourself silly, that means you're self-destructing yourself and you're not loving yourself. So I want to thank all the presenters who have shared, and I will just go through what do I do personally as Harriet to do self-care. And for some of you who know me, you have to first love yourself inside before even people see what you are outside. When you come at work, do you shout at your staff members, your direct reports? That means you don't love yourself and you can't be able to show care. And with the kind of job I have, some of you have shared, last year I had quite a number of issues at work, but what kept me going was prayer and self-love. My team really supported me. We cared for each other, we would pray, we would fast, I would go for my walks. And I made sure that I continue loving myself, whereby even if I walked in someone's office and they really didn't like me, they just saw this glowing person, this person smiling, even if I was broke, but I just held my head high, smiled at them, greeted them. How was your weekend? So even if a person wanted to hit back at me, they were like, you know what, this babe, I think just loves herself so much. So I have a routine that I go through. Even at work, my team know. I work on Tuesdays, I work on Thursdays, and either Saturday or Sunday. Some of my working partners are on the forum, like Diana Chibuka. I walk on Sunday. Even if she's not available, I'll go out there and walk. Why do I do that? I want to look good. And over the weekend, I met Florence somewhere, and she said, you don't just have to look good on the outside. Sorry, apologies. You don't just have to look good on the outside. You've got to look good also in the inside. So if in the inside you're looking good, it's like us ladies, when you wear a nice underwear and a nice bra, people don't have to see it, but you just feel good. You're smelling fresh. You're wearing a nice bra and a nice underwear, and then you put on your dress. Wherever you pass by, you're smelling nice, you're wearing nice underwears or a nice bra, and then you put on a dress, even if the dress doesn't fit you very well, but that confidence that brings for you. So I have a structure, I have a routine. Anything to go besides my routine, I'll make sure that I'm selfish and I do it fast. And like I think Diana Kibuka mentioned somewhere that you have to be very selfish. How do you be selfish? By making sure that you have a routine. You have to build resilience and make sure that you have a network. And I believe it's Jackie Namara Rukari who talked about a support network. If she didn't have a support network, it would be very hard to bounce back, because the ability to bounce back from setbacks is often, it makes a difference between successful people and unsuccessful people. But how do you build that resilience? How did I build the resilience last year? Because research shows that it comes down to the people in your network. What is part of your network? The network can be G4G. It can be your girlfriends that you went to school with. It can be the relationships you built over time. And I liked when Grace Linda said that you can have a friend for fun. You can have a friend to pray with, you can have a friend to dance with, you can have a friend to walk with. And my husband keeps on saying, honey, every time you're telling me, oh, my friend Diana, oh, my friend Grace, some people he has even never had. I'm like, yeah, honey, we have friends for everything. You need those relationships that are broad, that are deep enough to support you when you hit setbacks, any setback. So think about it that in these tough times, because 2020 was a very tough time, you need people who make you laugh. You need other people who sympathize with you and say, you know what, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. Yeah. So you have to consider your network. You have to identify the people you can go to and just make a rant and vent and vent and vent and vent, and ask yourself, does this meet my needs? Does this take care of me? It might be family, but there are some family members who can even bring stress. You know, so if it's family that brings stress, don't go to them. It can be your colleagues. It can be just a friendship that you met over G4G, and it's not a very deep, maybe friendship, but you can go to them and just say, you know what, I'm going through a lot of stress, like what Debbie was saying. Of course, all of us know that this pandemic has caused us a significant amount of uncertainty. People are going through a lot. Even at work, last year, I made sure that I push for a remote working policy. Why did I do that? For me, it's one of those policies that I'd always wanted to bring to the workplace. Why? That this week I'm working from the office, next week I'll work from home. And when I'm working from home, I'm able to do breakfast for my husband. I'm able to sit down with my daughter and wait for her when the bus is going to pick her up. I'm able to be at home when the bus is dropping her off. My mom is not well. I brought her over for a week and she was able to watch me while I work, but she was there in the corner reading the newspaper. And so I didn't have to call every time, Mommy, how are you feeling? So really at the end of the day, I think it's very, very important that we build onto our network and make sure that we self-care and self-love. But first, most importantly, is to self-love. And before I wind up, because we're given like only 5 minutes, I just want to share some few tips that if you're feeling stressful in some of those days whereby you feel you don't love yourself, you feel you just want to go and drink and binge, how do you live and work at the same time? You know what I mean? There are some people who say, Harriet, for me, WhatsApps stress me. But for me, to tell you the truth, I'm on so many chat groups, but when I'm stressed, I go there and laugh, you know, do any exercise. You don't have to walk like what I do, but you can do an exercise. You can move back and forth. Maybe if you have an upstairs house, go up, go down, move in your compound. Any exercise will be a fantastic stress reliever. That's one. Move if you must move. Then breathe. There are some people who already talked about breathing. Of course, there are some people who meditate, anything to tame your mind so that you are calm, you're cool and collected. There are some people naturally who are very calm and collected. People like Diana Chibuka, you know, when you meet with them, you're like, wow, this lady is so calm and collected. Florence Nsubuga, even the way she holds her fork, she's very calm. She's not in a hurry. You know what I mean? Someone was telling me that, Harriet, when you're going for a party, give yourself time so that even you put the Vaseline in your body so that it really sinks in. Don't dress up, put on Vaseline, and then just move. Calm down. If the party is for 2, start dressing up at 11. You calm down. So breathe, practice meditation. Journaling. Claire is in charge of the book club. There are so many people who like writing. I like to write, but I like to move with my diary. I write everything so that I know how my day is looking. I was talking to Grace Linda the other day, and I was telling her, I already know what I'm going to do Feb and March. It's already in my diary. So anyone calling me for an appointment, they have to rotate around my self-care plan. Journaling, it will make you happy. It will help you document what you have to do, but it also make you document what you're grateful for. Laugh. Laughing is very good for our muscles. Some of us who are aging, it's very good. Call up a friend, laugh, talk about it, feel some joy. You know, tomorrow I have a party, I'm looking so forward. And guess what? Because my dad invited me for a barbecue at home, guess what? I've turned down my dad, but I'm going for a birthday party. And he told me, hey, Mwala Wange, you don't want to come for our barbecue? I said, but Dad, you've called me last minute, and the purpose of the barbecue, I've already met the person that you're doing it for, so I'll go for my birthday party for my friends, because they'll bring me a lot of joy. Find your flow. Find something that you can focus on and gives you joy. Lastly, listen to music. For those of you who know me, since high school, I love dancing, I love music. And research has shown it that it relaxes some people. There are some people who go to bars and they just want to relax and they don't want to do anything. They don't want to dance. But me personally, I love that. I love to dance. I love to play. So I'm going to leave you with a quote. It's always on my desk. I don't know if you can read it, by Michelle Obama. It says, always stay true to yourself and never let what somebody says distract you from your goals. I love that quote. I love Michelle Obama, that whereby at one time I was going through a lot of trouble. And I just told myself, Harriet, stay true to yourself. Why? Because it's very, very important to know that you love yourself, you care for yourself, and that way, even the air you take off or you show people is very good, it's fresh, you don't shout at people, you're not stressed. Even if you're stressed, by the way, you don't have to show it on your face. So on that note, I want to end here, and I say, I leave you with that quote, be happy. I wish you a nice Friday, and I hope you are able to pick up a point or two. Thank you very much.
Flowers for you, Harriet. Thank you so much for sharing. I think what I've picked is self-love comes before self-care. Yeah, that's the beginning. Before you can't care for yourself if you don't love yourself. So right now we are going to go into another session, another part of this engagement, and that is the self-care plan. Yeah, we've been talking about how you can, what is self-care, what is self-love, what is the difference. But then now you notice that you have to develop a self-care plan around. But before we do that, I don't know, I'm going to try and share my screen. There's a lady who's going to take us through how to do a self-care plan. You can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so there is this self-care wheel. And why did I think that this was important for this engagement? It's because it's divided. The areas of your life that need attention are so many. They are not just these 8. Some people have up to 12. But this shows the areas in your life that you need to pay attention to. Where are your needs when it comes to physical? Is it working out because you struggle with weight issues? Is it seeing a counselor maybe once a month because you're constantly depressed or depression runs in your family? Is it, emotional that you just want to keep a certain sanity? Yeah. Is it spiritual that you meet maybe your priest, Father Raymond, I don't know who else, Pastor Gary Skinner or someone else that you need that grounding? So the self-care wheel shows you all the areas in your life, and you have to, I think you start there. Just like Angela is going to tell us, you have to start somewhere. What is important to you? What are your needs? What is the purpose of the self-care plan, and what influences it? Angela, the floor is yours.
Okay. All right, let me just delve right in. But the first thing I would like to talk about briefly, the imagery of an ego. Those who read the Bible, they tell us that God renews our strength, our youth. He renews our youth like that of an eagle's. And I've always wondered why. I never went so deep into it until I did some research on the ego. The ego, when it gets to 40 years, its wings become too heavy and it can't fly easily. And at that age of 40 years, the beak is so curved, it can't even pick its prey. And the claws are so curved, it can't hold on to anything. So that means the ego has to make decisions. And it either dies or survives and thrives. So back to what we are talking about, self-care, having a self-care plan. And I'm going to relate it to what I have gone through in the past and how I have learned from my mistakes and how I have made sure I thrive these days. So all of us women put everybody first. So now I have also learned, we have to learn to put ourselves first, because when our cups are full, we are able to also have an overflow and care for other people outside us. And one of the things, because I was diagnosed with bipolar several years back, and after that diagnosis, I realized that we need to have a wellness recovery action plan. If you're anybody who has ever had a mental health challenge, you have ever had a mental health crisis, this is something you need to come up with. Because with mental illness, there's a lot of stigma. So it's important that people don't make decisions for you. With this recovery plan, the wellness recovery action plan, you get involved in your treatment. So in case you are not able to make those decisions, have your plan I would want, and the kind of medication I would want, so that you are involved and people are not making decisions for you as though you are absent. And then another thing, because I also don't want to talk for too long, I want to show you some of my pretty notebooks. I hope you'll be able to see them. So this is one of another way you can take care of yourself. I have learned to write down what I feel, to write down my pain, and I have learned to give myself permission to lament. And I'll show you a book that I've been reading, No More Faking Fine. It's right here. I know some people might not see it properly, but well, it is there. No more faking, fine. I've gotten to a place where I do not pretend if I'm struggling. And I no longer feel ashamed. So let's ask for help wherever we are. Let us not, sometimes we want to be prim and proper. My friends, they know I have the perfect marriage. My friends, they know, my kids are perfect. But we are not perfect. We are human beings and we struggle. So when you're struggling, don't be ashamed to ask for help. Sometimes it might be help from maybe a mom. It might be help from your sisters. And other times you need also medical people to intervene. And so we shouldn't feel ashamed or afraid to seek help from psychiatrists. If you feel things are tight, please, call up the psychiatrist and make an appointment and what you have to do. One time, because I kept so much pain inside, I ended up actually going into a coma. I spent 8 days in hospital. And when I went through that, I realized I have also to allow myself to heal. And sometimes self-care will mean taking actually quite some time off work. I went through a season of 7 months of work. I needed to rest. Otherwise, I was no longer productive. I had gone through so much pain. I had covered up so much. I was really hurting and I needed to heal. I needed to understand, why do I do what I do? I needed to understand me. And when I actually got to understand myself, I started to give myself permission to be vulnerable, permission to have a good laugh. And by the way, sometimes this permission of resting, even your own family will question you, but now, these days you don't cook. Meanwhile, by the way, I have a 20-year-old in the house, but recently she told me, Mommy, Sunday lunch, Mommy, I'm tired, I'm not doing Sunday lunch. Hey, the shocking bit, her daddy, darling husband, was supporting her. No, you should also do the Sunday lunch. I said, my dear, that Sunday, which was last Sunday actually, I was going to pray and I'm a worshiper at church. That was our Sunday to serve. Man, I had my songs, I had practiced. I told them, you guys, you're not going to come between me and what I'm going to do. I have to do it. And I told them, they were shocked. But hey, that God you are serving, what? I said, my dear, that one, it's a deal. And I was shocked that they were shocked. That I told you, this child is 20 years, when is she going to learn? But she was shocked, and she was also shocked. So sometimes when you are also doing self-care, be ready to put your foot down, because you will be shocked. You can get resistance from the people you love the most. So we are going to learn to also do that. Somebody already mentioned journaling. I do a lot of it. I love journaling big time. I'm a journalist also, as professionally. So I love writing a lot, and I'm also writing my book about my recovery journey. And so another way we can deal with self-care, having a self-care plan, let's allow ourselves to be a child. The truth is, especially married women, this one I'm addressing especially to married women, because I know in this line we suffer the most. Sometimes you can forget to be a girl. You can forget to laugh, because all the time, serious, every time. I even told my kids, the only breathing space mommy gets is when she's in the bathroom. Because when I'm there, I chill. Newspaper, magazine, I chill. I can spend hours there when I'm not even doing anything much, but just because, who is going to disturb me when I'm in the bathroom? But just be anywhere. Mommy this, mommy that. And however young or old the kids are, mommy remains mommy. But now we have also to say, now it is me. So also as women, we need money. So because some of these self-care things we are talking about, we cannot do them without the money. So what I'm thinking, because one of the things that I do, I have a support group. I saw in the comments that somebody was talking about support group. Where do I find one? I have a support group, although mine, it is especially for people who have who are on their journey of recovery in regard to mental health challenges. That is my major focus. I also focus on caregivers in this line, and also medical experts who want to join us come and we share experiences. So another way I use that, although most of the people, by the way, don't pay their money, but that is not a problem. But at least to make it as a money making thing, I ask people to pay. At least you pay some money so that we are able to enjoy ourselves over a cup of tea, juice, something, and we have fun. And in my private time, I'm a very creative person. I love beautiful things. So I also do hair accessories, which I sell to people. So let's allow our creative side to grow, because sometimes you are too serious, too official, you hardly smile. And some people are so serious, but you might think because of seriousness. Too serious. No, you have to breathe, like somebody said. So another thing that we need to learn to do is, I'm looking at my notes, I wrote a number of things. Learn to meditate. And for me, the secret of my meditation, I draw my strength from the pages of the Bible, because what you think is what you are. And when I struggled, when I had my mental health crisis, I'll be honest, I struggled so much, but it was also because people kept telling me, people I love, by the way, I'm not good enough, I don't measure up. And the truth is I let it in. I sucked it all in there, like a sponge getting the water. And I'm telling you, I would think about those things, meditate on it. Hey, I would breathe it, eat it. Hey, go to the bathroom and also do whatever I have to do there when I'm thinking about all that negativity. So I realized it's very important not to be easily offended. And I think we also need that. Everybody needs that. Just because someone hasn't been nice to you doesn't mean lose sleep. You know, you are worth more. You are worth more. And you just need to know that I drew my strength from Psalm 139, verse 14, that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. We need to learn to affirm ourselves. We need to do that. Make it a lifestyle. Speak to yourself. I do that quite a lot, by the way. And for me, I draw a lot of strength from my faith. I love to pray, because that is also part, and I don't want to do it like a routine. So if that day I feel like praying over my children, I will call them one by one. They will even ask me, hey, mommy, what has happened to you? What's up? Mommy, what's up? I say, today, this is how I want to do it. But I mean, I said, no, mommy's prayer time is not a routine. She will do it as she's led. And of course, in this instance, as the Holy Spirit leads me. So yesterday I had a good day with my little ones, prayed for them, made declarations over them. That gives me peace. That gives me joy. All of that is a chapter I wrote in my book. And with that, because Bambi, when I talk, I can't talk for long. So I'm trying to summarize it. All of us need a Jonathan, and that Jonathan sees the king in you. The Jonathan God gave me went to home to be with the Lord. Now it's going to be 4 years. It will be 4 years this December. That Jonathan was so sweet to me, so sweet. She's somebody who just look at me. You know, now I'm so bubbly, and all someone who doesn't know me right now, they'll think, oh, Angela, oh, she doesn't have challenges. Oh, Angela, for people would even ask me at work, hey, Angela, do you have any problems? You're always smiling. But this Jonathan would look beyond that smile, and she would see and know, yeah, Angela is hurting, and should get time, we go either for a tea or even talk at work. And I just felt lovely after that. We all need that, Jonathan. We need that person who you are free to be you. When they see your scars, they won't run. And we need that person. I know I haven't yet got that Jonathan yet, but I know God will give me a Jonathan, another Jonathan. And I thank God for the young friends God is giving me these days. I thank God for G. You guys are awesome. And I'm so happy to be here. So for me, guys, because Bambi, I love talking, let me control myself and stop here so that people can ask questions.
Thank you so much, Angela. I think I like your energy. It is, and then the most important thing in this G4G fireside chat is that you have fun while you're delivering, have fun while you're listening, feel free, feel at home. So without wasting any time, we have seen that self-care is multidimensional, but then people are concerned that, like I had said earlier, we have self-care plans for everywhere, at work, at home, with the spouse, with the children, with family. But how do you, most importantly, because work is crucial to our livelihood, how do you practice self-care in the workplace? Juliana.
Thank you so much, Grace. Oh my goodness, ladies, flowers. You see me and my virtual background there, and I do flowers. You're starting to see the screen going, but flowers nonetheless. I am so happy to talk about self-care and self-love because you know what? If at all we don't start from there, it definitely will not work. Especially when you're in the workplace and you're being a person who is supposed to show up and deliver. Coming from a perspective of an HR practitioner where everyone believes you must be perfect, you must be wonderful, you must be the angel, and you have to take on all these complaints and extend care to other people, but you don't have a space really where you're going to actually have also the outlet. So being able to recognize that, you know what, I actually have to be able to choose myself sometimes and decide that it is okay for me to not show up for others before I've shown up for myself. So first and foremost, I don't go to work and work late beyond what I can afford to. I love working. Everyone who knows me knows I love working. I really love it. But as a must, I must sleep for 7 to 8 hours every single day. No matter what, the days when I sleep for less than those hours, I'm so grumpy and annoyed and irritable, and I just cannot show up at my best in the workplace. So I have to be able to make sure that I actually sleep for 7 to 8 hours a day. When I go to work as an HR practitioner, when I was still in the active practice, you have to be able to balance between the employee and the organization and what they're looking for. And you're somehow there as Judge Judy. Today you're good in the side of the employee, but bad for the organization. Tomorrow you're good for the organization, but bad for the employee. So at the end of the day, if at all you don't guard yourself and say, it's okay, I've done my part, and I've done my best to show up excellently, you may actually fall into a space where you no longer have any kind of joy. So those who know me closely, okay, even those that don't know me, they can just see me once. You will know, like, I'm a burst of energy and bubbliness and excitement. I have so many passions, so much things that I want to be able to participate in, many stakeholders. But within the workplace, being able to understand that amidst all the stakeholders that are there, I am my primary stakeholder. I am the SI unit of excellence that I'm going to deliver. And as such, I have to be able to choose to defend that SI unit jealously. How do I ensure that I extract myself from environments that are going to see me losing my peace or getting into negative environments? I want to be able to acknowledge somebody here on the fireside chat, Queens, who has seen me at my deepest, lowest in the workplace, negative energy vibes, Diana and Nisima. And it's very interesting, the friendship that we have, because Diana has seen me growing, and at some point when I was at my lowest level in the workplace of this life sucks, Diana came and told me something that I'll never forget. Can you please wipe your tears and show up? Show up. No matter what it takes, you have to show up and show up awesomely. And so I went back to my home and I was like, okay, this person, does she understand that I'm just going through a harassing situation? And when I got out of that self-pity situation, I began to reflect and say, okay, how do I actually show up excellently? How do I ensure that no matter what I'm doing, I'm going to do my best to show up excellently? It took a moment for me to actually realize that there are certain things that I wasn't doing for me to actually show up effectively in the workplace. First and foremost, being able to allow myself to pause and say, okay, in this situation, how do I deliver on my agenda without compromising on my own personal positive bubble? Can I be able to take feedback without taking it personally? Can I seek to give feedback? And if at all it is not accepted or appreciated, it's okay, I've done my part. Can I show up excellently every single day and seek for ways to be able to be better without taking it as a personal attack? Can I be able to say, okay, this one here, I've failed, and it's okay. It's okay for me that I've failed. How do I pick up myself and dust off my shoes? I've also learned how to listen to my body. When I was working in my current employer, I would get to the workplace at about 6:30 and leave at about 11 o'clock in the night, because when I get in, you have to start working and delivering on everybody's agenda. And then when people leave, I have my own personal work to do. I have my own reports, I have my own deliverables, which I've not touched at all. Eventually, I began to realize that I had begun to age. When you're a 20-year-old and then you begin to have wrinkles, it's not nice, because it's a poor representation of how you take yourself in the workplace and also for your own self. So being able to listen to my body and appreciating that, okay, now I need to go to rest. Now it's time for me to also then go and enjoy. Now it's time for me to go down to the bar and have a drink. And it's also okay. I'm not going to be able to finish all the work in life today. Can I come back tomorrow? And then being able to also appreciate that I have to practice acceptable selfishness. Acceptable selfishness is defending my happiness in every single situation I'm in. I have to defend it. Nobody's going to give me happiness out of the blue, because people sometimes are out in the workplace just to frustrate you. Some of them are just there to practice politics. Some of them are just there to pursue their agenda. Some of them just don't like how you look. Some of them don't like how you dress. Some of them don't like that you're female. Some of them don't like that you're young and you're where you are. There are so many reasons. But if at all I'm waiting for someone else within my workplace to make me feel happy, then I'm going to lose it. So personally, I have to give myself the happiness and defend it no matter what. So when I start to see things that are going to take away my happiness, I'm learning to say no to that situation. Let me not pursue this discussion right now, because right now we're having a heated moment. Can I come back? Or if at all I've taken a budget for it to get approved and then my boss is going, hey, why? Can I be able to learn how to politely excuse myself from that discussion so that I can come back when either he's more receptive or I am more receptive to find a point of convergence between the two of us. I've also learned how to dance. So there are days where the day is not going very good, like those bad days that you have at work where nothing seems to be going your way. I used to have many of those days. However, I learned that because I love to dance, and I'm saying dancing because for me it's my thing, I had to appreciate the things that I could do to immediately bring back my self-worthiness or my positivity to myself, or to be able to laugh at the situation. So I had my playlist of when it's hard, and I'd go to the bathroom, and I relate so much with Angela's story. So I'd go to the bathroom and just put in my headsets and spend some 5 minutes dancing. And for me, it added so much value to me, because by the time I get out of that 5-minute dance routine, my body has recognized that, hey, endorphins, come on, we're in a happy moment. We are going back to being bubbly and joyful. So the person who was with me in a heated debate or something in a boardroom, when they see me after a few minutes, they're wondering, is she not crazy? How is she still smiling at this point of time in her life. But I had learned that it's okay for me to give myself small breaks within the workspace and go and just resuscitate myself no matter what it took. So being able to take 5 minutes away from my desk to be able to reinvest into me showing up excellently was more critical than me trying to say, I have this deadline. I will not be able to deliver on that deadline if at all my brain is actually not functioning. So in the pursuit of purpose and impact within our workplace, can we find a balance between quality and quantity? Because I feel like one of the triggers for where you're going to fall is going to be you, the person. What quality of being are you going to bring to that workspace? And if at all you have not practiced self-care for yourself, then you're going to deliver quantity, but then in terms of the quality of the work or the quality of relationships or the quality of thinking, you're not going to actually show up in terms of excellence. The last thing that I've tried to be able to explain is to raise awareness for the people who are on my team and my peers, to appreciate why, for me, it is very important to do certain things, because sometimes they think that you're mad, or sometimes they misunderstand you. Why am I always saying I need to excuse myself from this discussion? Or can we continue with this discussion? Or can we pick up this discussion another time? The reason for them to understand that this is why I'm trying to pursue this. I'm making sure that I choose to protect my happiness, or to protect that discussion, or protect the quality of relationship for me and you by deciding that we can postpone this discussion. So being able to, and it continuously reinforcing it with people to say, oh, Juliana, if at all you want to get something successful out of her, don't go into the shouting space. She's just going to say, let's pause and resume afterwards. So also people to appreciate, okay, if I need to work effectively with Juliana, she appreciates that the discussion is respectful. Yes, we can disagree, but let us be disagreeing in respectful manners. So that level of awareness between your peers, you begin to see that people begin to judge you and say, oh, this girl, she does what, but no one will actually push those boundaries for you, because they know that you will not accept it. And I will not apologize for loving myself and choosing to actually protect the bubble that actually creates the excellence in the workplace. So I think this is, I will stop there and I will send it back to Grace Linda.
Thank you so much, Juliana. I think we all have to agree that the place we spend most of our time is work and home. So it is very important to develop a self-care plan or routine, even when it comes to your workspace. Yeah, so we've summarized most of the things that are that we've talked about in that chat. If there is anything that you have missed, feel free to reach out to these ladies or to reach out to a person who knows you want a repeat. If you want to go go through your self-care plan with someone, you could do it with a friend. Yeah. Without wasting any much time, there is something I want to leave you, and it's something that I realized I missed out. When you don't care for yourself, you put other people at risk. Yeah. How is that? There is something called compassion fatigue. Your empathy diminishes, the ability to care or to empathize with another person. Yeah? It's called compassion fatigue, because you're emotionally and physically exhausted. You feel like no one is considering you. Why should I consider other people? You see. So when you don't care for self, you put yourself at risk of compassion fatigue. There is no one who wants to be in deficit of compassion for the rest. Yeah, I'm going to share something. I got down and wrote a small poem. Feel free to say it with me. I'm going to share my screen. It is just one of those things that I feel you need to tell yourself. Yeah. So our self-care poem for today is, Stella, I think you can read it with me, or let me call upon a fireside queen that has not said anything. Florence. Florence. Stella?
I am so here. Let's do
Okay,
this.
let's do this. I choose myself today. Yeah, I choose myself today. Leaving behind the guilt that is tied to my choice. Or perhaps you read it, Stella.
That is tied to my choice.
Please go ahead. Okay, let's not waste time. Let me just read it. I choose myself today.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. I choose.
Stella, let me read. It's okay. I choose myself today, leaving behind the guilt that is tied to my choice. I will take myself to a space where I alone can go. I will choose myself tomorrow, resting the weight of others that I normally gladly bear. I choose myself forever, making an appointment with myself every day. I will show up every time, not a minute late, but right on time. I choose myself. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for making the time to log into the self-care session. Stella, over to you.
Awesome, GL. Oh my goodness. Flowers, flowers, flowers to you, and flowers to all the Fireside Queens who are able to share their stories today about self-love and self-care. Oh my goodness. A round of applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Grace Linda, that summarizes it so well. I choose myself every single time. We have had a summary of all the ladies from a caregiver perspective. That was Jackie. Healthcare from Claire. Love, self-love before self-care from Harriet. Having a self-care plan that was so elaborate from Angela. And dealing with the workplace issues. How do you create those boundaries from Juliana? And thank you so much, GL. I didn't know that it's called compassion fatigue, you know? So now I know there's a term for it. And having a mental health hierarchy of needs. Thank you so much for that. Ladies, allow me 7 minutes to just indulge questions at this particular point. Most of the questions that were asked in the email have already been answered, but I can't leave this session without relaying your questions to the amazing ladies. And this question you must hear, because this affects so many ladies, and this is from Letitia and Gloria, and they are asking about the guilt that you feel when you're leaving your children behind to take care of yourself. From Letitia, she's asking, how do you deal with guilt leaving children behind, yet you love them so much, and yet you understand that it's important for you to take care of yourself? Then Gloria follows on and says, when do you say enough is enough? As a mother, you are still a human being. And to answer this question, let me relate to another mother who happens to be DNK Diana Nensima Chibuka, who we are keeping up with. Now, today we've learned that we're keeping up with the Chibukas. Diana, over to
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Stella. My name is Diana. I'm a mother of 2 boys. When my firstborn was 4 months, I went away to the UK for 3 months to do a course. It was an internship with Diageo UK and a very big firm, a prominent firm in the UK. And I remember my matron looked at me and said, Diana, are you mad? She called me like that eve of my departure. I said, Diana, are you mad? And I said, no, I've got this. I'll tell you that those 3 months were the most painful, most, horrible 3 months, but I'm glad I made that decision. But what made it easy for me at that time to make that decision was I had a lot of support. I have, if you know me, we are 7 sisters in my family, and 3 of them were actively involved in the care of my child when I was away. And my friend, I have a very good friend called Sarah. She was actively involved, and my husband was also responsible for taking the child for immunization. So I know we love our children, but if you have a village, leaving them for a season, it will be very painful. I didn't sleep, but even in the UK, I had a support system. I had a friend called Prosy, and she used to check in on me, and she would allow me to keep her up at night as I cried. And those days we didn't have WhatsApp, we had Skype. I would Skype with the family once on Sunday, and I would get to see the baby, and I would see that he was doing well. And I came back within I came back when he was 7 months. But what am I saying? Your village, your support systems will make the hard decisions bearable. I'm not saying it was easy, but if you have to do what you feel you have to do, you carry that, you bear the pain, you carry the sacrifice. But if you have a strong support system, almost anything is bearable. And I had to ask for help where I was falling apart. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Diana. Thank you. That was so bold of you, leaving an infant behind. But I'm so happy that you elaborated that these are situations we find ourselves in, and you made the choice and you had the support system around it. I have only 2 questions to go, and then we'll call this a wrap. Meanwhile, if you're interested to join Girls for Girls as a mentor, as a mentee, or as a donor, there's a link that is running in the chat room. Feel free to click on it, and you can be able to sign up and join this amazing village where we empower women to lead in our spheres of influence. The next question, I was really talking about before on an email, and it reads, how do you set and enforce boundaries in a work environment that always encroaches on personal time? And in this particular case, maybe I'll ask Dorothy to answer this question. Dorothy, how do you create those boundaries when you have a work environment that encroaches on personal time, especially weekends and public holidays? Okay, fantastic. Let me ask Primera to be able to take that question. All right, fantastic.
I'm here. I am here.
Okay, fantastic.
But kindly repeat the question for me.
No problem. There's a question from Patience who's asking, how do you deal with a work environment that is that encroaches on personal time, especially weekends and holidays? How do you create boundaries?
Very, very, very interesting. Okay. The first thing I found about doing that, right, is boundaries at work. It's in my work, me as a person, I will just talk about me as a person at work. I have a very good relationship with my boss. So that helps a lot, really, really a lot, which is the first place I would say. Julian, I would really agree with that. It's about really having those very good relationships with your boss and your colleagues. I've also learned to express myself and be able to explain to people what is important in your life. Like, what are those things that are important in your life? Your children, your spouse, your family, like generally people need to understand. When you do not express yourself and say, maybe my children are very important to me or my spouse is very important to me, the day they're unwell and you have to come in late or leave early, it becomes strange. But let everyone you work with understand what your values are, what means and what is very important to you in your everyday life. It helps you with structuring. I learned that from my boss. Like, if his wife is unwell, he's going to tell me, Prim, today I'm coming in late. I have to take my wife to hospital first. I respect that a lot. So me, when I have a sick child, there is no reason why I don't call him up and tell him, I have this sick child, I have to come in late, something like that. But it's really about explaining to people what's important in your life most. So when you are not able to attend to certain work elements, everyone gets to understand that they have certain priorities in their life. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. Defining those priorities in your life and having a good relationship with the people that you're working with. That is so powerful, Primera. Thank you so much for that. Amazing things. And we will send you the poem. We'll send you the poem if you have registered your email address with us. We will send you the poem that Grace Linda shared. The last question is around empathy. Grace Linda talked about the hierarchy of needs, and one of the needs was empathy. And we have Doreen who's asked about who's asked for more clarification around empathy, and I will ask Grace Linda to elaborate more, and then we'll call it a wrap. And please make sure you sign up for Girls for Girls as a mentor, as a mentee, as a donor, and you can get more information on our website, on our social media pages as well, and we'll be happy to interact with you. Grace Linda?
Yeah, I think what Primera said of she has a good relationship with her boss, so she can easily get away with some things, or she can explain herself, or she can be given audience. When it comes to empathy, if you have empathy for others, it is likely that you'll get it back in the same currency. That is what I know. It is very likely that you'll get back the same. If not the same, you will get back something. There will be someone in the pack that feels for you. So whatever you want to give, like energy, if you give off a particular energy, you will get that same energy back. Yeah. But then also, even when you don't get it back, yeah, you cannot cease to give it, because while the other person is not giving it back, we don't know what else they are dealing with. People are dealing with so many things. You may think it's about you, and it's never about you. It takes me back to compassion fatigue. But it's a subject for another day. I hope I've helped you, Doreen. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Stella. Lovely.
Wonderful, thank you. Thank you so much, GL. Let me ask the Fireside Queens to just switch on their video to say bye. We wish you an amazing time. I'm still work in progress when it comes to me. I went through surgery in 2017. I ran a lot, and I had to stop for 3 months and recover. Just like Claire, I postponed a surgery for an entire 1.5 years. That was so critical to me. And it is in those 3 months that I was recovering in my mother's home that I realized that you can never give what you don't have, and you have to stop before you have to stop. And so at the end of the day, in 2021, as we are taking off the year and making sure that we are thriving, just always remember that you are, in the words of Juliana Kayaga Seremba, Mrs. James, you are the SI unit of your life. Take care of you so that you can be able to take care of others. I wish you all the best. Let us glow and grow in 2021. God's blessing.
Thank you, Stella. Thank you for moderating the session well. Thank you, Grace Linda, for leading us. Have a nice weekend, people.
Thank you, ladies.
You too, Hattie. You've been baptized, Hottie.
But G for G,